I'm never gonna get used to talking in front of a camera. Okay, let's get this over with. Welcome, collective. I am your humble and awesome leader, Tim Green. I write under the pen name T Green. And this is my first vlog. Again, number 5. 5th time is the charm to actually get a vlog that I'll actually edit and put it out there. Hopefully. Today, like I've mentioned before, I've filmed many vlogs and none of them really turned out the way I wanted to. I just kind of rambled for a long time. So the next thing you know, I had like 3 files, 10 minutes long, lots of ums and in there. I would have to edit out and just be tedious, so I didn't want to edit it. Well, I think I finally have a topic I want to talk about and vlog about. So we're going to go with it. Hopefully this will actually work out. So what I want to talk about is I want to talk about my writing contract. And if you've watched some of my other videos, especially my 2 quarterly videos, and a few other videos here and there, I think I mentioned it and gone into details. But I've signed a writing contract. No. It's not a publishing contract. Just a contract that ensures that I write. But what I don't want to talk about is going into the details of everything on the past, of why I got there. I'm just going to recap the contract just in case you haven't heard me talk about it yet. And I'll go into some other stuff that I really want to dive into. So let me just summarize the contract for you. Around this time last year, I think it wasn't until November when I actually wrote up the contract. No, I think it was end of November, early December when I actually wrote it down. But I was starting to think about this idea around this time, October of last year, early November. And the reason is I like to write series. I can't write a single book. I just haven't been able to do that. My ideas are so grand and epic that a series is better. One day hopefully I will, but my problem with series is I like to link things from the very first book that are going to happen in later books. And while I outline everything, I don't know exactly how that's going to take place. And I don't know how those later books may change due to how the actual first book and later books to those points are going to turn out. So I may hint at one thing, and then by the time I get to book 4, where the big hint was for some of this big awesome plot twist was going to come from, it doesn't work anymore. And now I just left something in my book that doesn't really help. So I wanted to write my books in advance. I tried this once before and got to book 2, almost finished the book 2 of a different series, and realized how horrible the plot and mistakes were. I wanted this to be different because of just what I just said, so I wrote up a contract and had my 2 friends Adam and Chris sign it. All the contract says is I have 1 year to write 3 books, part of my Veil Trilogy. So I have to write a first draft for each one. One for Seeing Through the Veil, World Within the Veil, and Shattering the Veil. And I signed the contract in December. My start date was going to be December 6th, with all drafts had to be done by December 5th of this year. Both friends signed it, and you may say, how does that help me write? Well, if I don't succeed, I have to pay them $250 each, total of $500. I can't afford to do that. And I don't want to do that, more or less. Love them, but I don't want to give them money. I'm selfish. I need it. They signed it, they agreed, I signed it, and I started writing. That's the summary of everything. And then that we got that, I want to move on to what I want to actually talk about, which is simple. What were the positives, negatives, mistakes that I made? And ultimately, would I do this again? Well, it'd be fun to start with negatives and positives. We're not going to. I want to talk about the mistakes. I can't think of all the mistakes off the top of my head, but we'll start with a few smaller ones and then move to the gigantic one. That's a pretty big one that I should have thought about beforehand. First thing is, I've never done this before. I've never done a contract like this before. I've had personal agreements with myself to do something like this that I cheated on. Like when I was blogging before I started this YouTube channel, if I didn't write, I would tell them on there that my goals would not have to pay $20 to someone, or I would have it and I buy food for my coworkers, which I did, not $20 worth. I'm surprised how cheap Dunkin' Donuts actually are when you're trying to blow $20. But I want to be held accountable, so that's why I got my friends. But not knowing this, I didn't know how long it was actually going to take me. I've written books before, but it's taken 6 months to do it. When you add up all of the actual time I wrote, it was a month's worth of actual writing. Not knowing how long it actually would take me or the work was going to go into this was a mistake. I knew the world pretty well. It was just how things was going to turn out. Like I said, I outlined everything, so I know. But at the same time, I was going with new outlines, stuff I had to craft, and characters. So it was going to be some work. Luckily, I had that stuff done for book 1 when I started. Another big mistake was not really fleshing out characters in later books beyond what I had or thought in my head. That was a mistake. A few of the main characters do have some details in their profiles, others don't. And having to figure that out as I'm writing is kind of fun, but at the same time, I wish I knew more about my characters. I should have done a little bit more work so I knew at least the main characters were what they were going to be, and a little bit more about them. Those were probably much the smaller mistakes. The epic mistake I made, and don't forget, I've made a few others, but I just can't think of them. So we'll move on to the big one. The big mistake was, I just mentioned I had book 1 figured out, outlined, scenes list, knew the characters. Great. I didn't have that for book 2 or 3. While I was writing Seeing Through the Veil, I was developing book 2. And while the story was falling into place, it took away from writing and distracting. Not realizing that sometimes, well, not sometimes, usually all the time, when I write a book or outline it, I need a gap to let my brain digest it. I can't just dive right into it. If I do, I'll stop within a scene or two because the excitement wears off and I'm actually like, whoa. Okay, where am I going with this? I have this, but my brain needs to digest that. Something that I've learned. Started actually writing book 2. I finished book 1 well in advance of the time I needed to finish it by. So I had a full extra month for book 2. I wrote like maybe 1 or 2 scenes and I didn't start writing the rest of it halfway through the month of April when I was supposed to start. So I had a lot less time and it took a while to write it, if you know what I mean. And that led to problems. Same thing when I was writing book 2. I was developing book 3. And again, problems. Especially for book 2 because I added a story arc that I wasn't really planning on while writing book 2. That's really awesome and I love it. But now it has to pay off in book 3, which only adds to the problem. Ultimately, I got all the scenes listed done for both books and in time so I could start writing it, but it would have been so much easier if I had those things already done beforehand, before I even started writing this. That way my focus could be on writing them, not trying to make sure I'm getting the next book developed and scenes list done so I can actually write it when I'm done with this book. So in the future, I will definitely keep in mind that. So let's move on to the positives, because there's some good positives. Not really any negatives I can think of. Life events, that's a negative. When you plan a year out you never know what's going to happen in there. And I did do a good job of putting stuff in that contract if something happened and I couldn't write. But I didn't pick it up events like a job change, going back to school, getting married. I'm not getting married. No, don't even think about saying I am. But I am going back to school, and that'll be a different vlog in the future. I know it. I have a few things on that topic I want to get off my chest, which I'll have to do at some point. But that can wait. Which requires a lot of paperwork and all that. So that is a negative. I didn't take that into account, and it is affecting me now. That's okay. That's really all the negatives I can think of. There's probably maybe one, but again, they're a negative, but it's a negative because I didn't think of it through more, which is something I will definitely have to keep in mind for the future if I want to do this again. So let's go to the positives. Positives is this. I'm writing. I have one novel complete, a second one 14 scenes away from being complete, and I'm working on the third, which is starting to come along very slowly. Like before, I have needed a break between finishing the outlines and scene list to really dive in and let my brain marinate and figure stuff out. But it is working. I'm writing now, and I like the story. Big changes I had to be made so I could succeed in this draft, completing this draft because of going back to school soon, and yeah, it's coming along. I'm liking the story. It's just making sure I'm plugging away at it, So that's a huge positive. Another thing is, it got me worried and concerned on days I wasn't writing. There are times where I was writing where I had to actually sit down. Actually, not sit down, but stop writing for a day or two. Because I got to a scene where I'm like, I know what happens, I see it, what I need to achieve, but I'm not sure how to go about it. There are times that the same things happen where I wasn't sure how the scene was going to turn out, sat down and wrote it anyway. But there are certain times when I get to a point where I'm like, I think I need to, let me think about that. A few days go by, not writing, losing time, but it solved the problem. Like, eventually when I sat back down, I would knew exactly what I wanted and plug away, and I'd go off on a good spiel. So, the main thing is, it got me worried and concerned when I wasn't writing, which other times I wasn't. I'm like, oh, I should be writing. Oh well. Video games. Oh, movie. Oh, ooh, world building. So that was a great positive, and that's something that is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this contract, because it would make me focus. Because again, I can't afford $500 to my friends. And I know my buddy Adam would really like that. I'm sure Chris would like it too. He's gonna be a dad soon, so that would help. Sorry guys. No, I don't want to. Love to help, but no, I need that money. But so that's a great positive. Another big positive is I have almost 3 books written in a year. It's more writing I've done in a year, anything, ever, consistently. Now, when I get done with it, I'll have to go through and actually map out how many days of this full year I actually was writing. But it's going to be pretty close, which is great because it's helping me get back in that habit of making sure I'm writing daily. Another positive. I'm usually writing daily, not every day, but it is helping me write. I've learned a lot of things about when a good time to write. For Seeing Through the Veil, I could kind of write morning, I could write in the afternoons, evenings, because I've written that book before. It's easier that way. World Within, I could write in the mornings, sometimes in the evenings. As I got further into the story, it was easier to write if I had to in the evenings. Shattering the Veil, that is a mornings only right now. Can't tell you why. It may be because of at those times I was more energetic and had more energy in the evenings because I was working out at times. I don't know. For book 1. So it's something I gotta play around with. I'm back to working out, so hopefully in the next few weeks I'll start to see more energy in the evenings, so I can do that. We'll see. But I've learned a lot about me, when to write, not caring about stupid mistakes, past tense, present tense, making sure the characters sound exactly how they're supposed to sound. No, my whole goal of this book, writing these books, was to get them written so I could see the events, how they played out. Knowing how they play out and action, like, oh, this is going to happen, but how it actually plays out. Where, like, what decisions they made, what was the dialogue, setting, all that crap. I don't know until I write it. So this has helped me, like, it's mostly getting it out and I can fix it in later drafts. It's also helped me with not making sure my outlines or scenes lists are complete. I can already tell you book 1 has to have several scenes added to it to make it so it's not jumpy in the beginning, maybe through the middle a little bit. I know some stuff I have to change for book 2. Book 3, oh, I won't get to book 3 because there's going to be a lot there. But I'm getting the sense of it, which is great. And that's a really big positive. That's a big positive. I've learned a lot. So I definitely like it, and it'll help me. And I think it would help other people to do this too. Let's see. Got that. Got that. The last one. The big question. Let's do it. Am I going to do this again? Yeah. The big question. It's time. I need to answer this. I'm just going to hold it here. Oh, fuck it. What's the point? Yes, I'm going to do it again. Will I use it every time? I don't know. I'm definitely going to do this again. Because everything I've ever wanted to achieve in writing, like, not just to get published, because nothing's published yet, but to make sure I'm writing, I've gotten out of this. I have huge room for improvement and growth, but I'm getting there. It feels good. Helps me constantly thinking about that and wanting to make sure I'm writing. And so absolutely when I do this again. And like I said, I don't know when I'll do it again. Will it do for every project? Probably not. I'm hoping that it'll get to a point where I can stop doing this because I've developed those habits, and hopefully when I have books published, I can make enough money from those so I can do it for a living, that I'll have that experience where I can make sure I'm doing stuff. Probably at that point, I'd definitely probably do a transition, if I ever transition from working a separate job and into just writing full time. I would probably do one there because there's a difference between developing a habit and working in your schedule around a job versus, oh, it is your job, and it's very easily to get distracted when you have all this free time, like, ooh, video game. Yeah, you know you have work you gotta do. You gotta put money on the table. So something like that, I definitely would probably put my a contract on with higher stakes. Overall, I'm happy with what I've learned from this experience, what I'm learning about my books and my characters by doing it, and I can't wait to finish Shattering so I can just relax for a few seconds and then move on to editing book 1, which will be the primary focus, along with a few things in book 3, but we'll see that. Well, that's all I have. Since you made it to the end of this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. You clearly liked what I said here or was talking about. If you want to know when they go, my videos on Tuesdays go live and other vlogs go live, because I do not have a specific day in mind for them, you can hit that subscribe button, and since it's right next to it, ring that bell to join the collective, and you'll know when all my videos go live. And you'll want to do that because for the month of November, I have some extra videos coming out for NaNoWriMo. So you're going to want to know when those go live. And like these vlogs, comment down below to let me know what you thought of this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on my contract and what I said. Other than that, I hope you have a great writing week, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.